www.zmultimedia.com, our 24-hour online radio platform. Looking forward to more text and WhatsApp from our cherished listeners on 0544 321019, 0544 321019. Phone lines for calls will be open at 9:30 a.m. on 0303 956641, 0303 956641. Now on Roundtable. Agribusiness faces several challenges and opportunities amid evolving market demands and technological advancement. Key challenges include limited access to finance, climate change impact, inadequate infrastructure, and fluctuating market prices. However, opportunities abound through the adoption of modern farming technologies, value addition, export potential, and increasing demand for sustainable food products. Strategic investments and policies can help agribusiness overcome challenges while exploiting growth prospects. For more understanding on the opportunities and challenges in Ghana's agribusiness, we have the CEO of Chamber of Agribusiness right here on BBC. You're welcome, Mr. Anthony Morrison.
Right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And very good morning to your cherished listeners.
Awesome. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. So let's just dive into the conversation. First, I want to know, what is the trend in agribusiness in Ghana right now? Is it growing? Is it growing, or is there any holdback?
Well, certainly, I would say that the agribusiness industry in Ghana is very growing. Just as any industry and in every country, there are always challenges to a growing industry. Challenges comes in the form of regulatory areas of financing and issues of global impact. So certainly, if you look at our own development as individuals, the more you grow, the more you have challenges.
Right.
So certainly, yes, there are challenges, but yes, opportunities, and it's a very robust industry.
It's a very robust industry. So let's talk about the challenges. What are the biggest challenges affecting smallholder farmers in agribusiness?
Right. When you say smallholder farmers in agribusiness, it's a bit diluted, but
okay.
Let me put it this way. Smallholder farmers are smallholder farmers. Primarily, their focus is on production. Now, the business of their production depends on the value chain players.
Okay.
So the challenges that confront the smallholder farmers are quite unique and different from the business side.
Okay.
You may as well also note that some smallholder farmers also endeavor to engage in other value chains that makes their proprietary activities more business. For instance, there are some people who have one greenhouse. They are smallholder farmers, and they produce, package, and sell outright. That is an agribusiness venture.
Okay.
You can also primarily engage in just the productivity and off-sell to, or maybe have an off-taker. It could also be, but there are quite distinction between the two in terms of the challenges.
Okay.
Smallholder farmers are challenged with quite a number of issues. First has to do with competitiveness of their ability to scale up as a result of cost of production, market dynamics, issues to do with uncertainty of the market, market guarantee, pricing, and vulnerability of the forex, and also vulnerability to imports. For instance, there are a lot of gluts this year. There are a lot of imports that also came at the time that harvest was around. The smallholder farmer also have challenges with, if you look at the 2018-2019 Ghana Agriculture Census, it's very much clear that they do have challenges with skills, the kind of skills that they required to turn around their productivity They have challenges with technology adaptation, adapting to let's say hybrid seeds, technology in terms of adaptation to climate variability or climate change activities. They also have challenges with regards to the new technologies that we all come to see, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, machine learning, precision farming. All of these things are quite a robust area that the smallholder farmer, as an individual, have to face, unlike the commercial farmers who have the ambience or the allowance to bring in people, employ people to develop certain key areas, data-driven agriculture, climate-driven agriculture, sustainability strategies. The smallholder farmer is not thinking about all this. All you're talking about, okay, weather information and all that. Okay, he understands, but at what cost would all this comes to him with regards to his small farm? 2 acres, 3 acres. What can you do with regards to such adaptation and adoption of new competitive areas?
Wow, I mean, that's a long list of challenges. Talk about the cost of production, the market dynamics, pricing.
Yeah,
even when it comes to price of forex, imports, even the skill required is also
cost of inputs, financing.
That's a long list. But let's look at tech. How can technology improve productivity and sustainability in agribusiness?
It will, and it's doing that already.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, and agriculture sector, I think in Ghana employs about 23% of the Ghanaian population and contributes somewhere 18 to 21% to our GDP. Technology is playing a lot of role already in the agriculture sector, not only in Ghana, but globally. I'll start from the global level. Technology is deepening research. Technology is what is bringing up the kind of seeds that we should use, soil profiling, the kind of input. We're looking at areas where we are adopting precision farming. We are adopting irrigation systems in a way that reduces the quantity of water that is used and reducing it by 50 to 60%. And we are also developing new areas, robotics in agriculture, which a lot of people are fascinated about. We're also looking at data-driven activities that are also informing on a whole complexity of activities that you need to undertake in the agriculture sector. For instance, you have to build data over the next 5 to 10 years in terms of climate, the rainfall pattern, the sunshine, and all that to inform you on how your seeds, your soil, for instance. You also need to look at soil testing, alkalinity, acidity, the toxification of the soil, and to build that kind of complex data to inform whether in the next 10 years your land that you are producing on will be viable. Because otherwise you just be pouring water on stone. So there are quite a lot of things we are doing. In terms of the value chain activities, yes, of course, robotics is also playing a major role. We are also looking at the Internet of Things, IoA, and IoT, and to such an extent that we are developing some form of blockchain activities that are helping us to now deploy drones on our farms for spraying, drones to identify diseases and identify the right solutions for it. We are deploying sensors, at the same time on crops. We are deploying sensors on our livestock, cows, to see their temperature level, the time that it is right for them to be given artificial insemination, and a whole lot is taking place. These days, you do not need a male cow or a male pig to meet or have mating with the female one. All you need to do is to deploy the sensors, and it tells you at the time that the female one is on heat, then you do the artificial insemination. So all these are done in order to avoid crossbreed diseases and all that in our production system. And even on large scale dairy farms or livestock farms, areas where humanly we used to bring in humans to push the feed delivery for the cows or for the pigs, sensors are doing them now, robots are doing them now, where the poos of the cows or the pigs are. Wow. And human beings are no longer interested in working in those areas. We are deploying sensors and drones and robots that are working in those areas.
And it's happening like in Ghana?
Some are happening in Ghana, and it's happening globally. If you go to Brazil, you go to US, you go to Argentina, you go to Denmark, Europe,
I'm sure
even South Africa.
Countries.
Yes, of course. In China, a lot is happening. So we are at the break of a new dawn for agriculture that is not only about financing, but it's about the ability to scale in a manner that makes you competitive, in a manner that makes you to develop some very strict and more intelligent comparative environment. It's no longer about I have the land.
Yeah.
You can be doing 100 acres of maize, and I can be doing just 20 or 30, and I'm producing the same quantity, and you are doing. So it's not about we have the labor. If you have the labor and the labor is not skilled, and I'm bringing robotics that is doing the work of 5 people, and it's not tired, it's not asking me for more money, I'll be more competitive rather than employing 5 people to do the work of 1 person who is a robot, and I'm paying pension, I'm paying all sorts of taxes and all that. A time is going to come, and it's going to be about how technologically advanced, how we have financed research that is improving on technology, that is improving on our way of doing activity faster, easier, and in a manner that is consistent and sustainable.
Right. So right here, I mean, it's not about the payment of the statutory benefits, but it's more of, efficient work and increase in productivity. Reason why the use of robots and some of these agri-techs, isn't it?
Of course, because for instance, if I have a company and there are union groups that will hold me to stock, that I need to improve this, I need to increase salary, allowances, the time and all that. If I have 1 robot or 2 can do the work of 5-10 people, they will not hold me to ransom.
Have mercy upon labor. Anyway, so I mean, you talk. There's a whole lot from your points right now. There's a whole lot happening within the agribusiness. There's a lot happening when it comes to tech, the use of drones, robots, and all that. It's amazing. But let's look at, and then also the 20% impact on GDP also from agribusiness. It's huge. But let's look at financing. Okay. What financing options are most accessible to agribusiness entrepreneurs? Because I think we want to get more into the agribusiness. So is there any financing opportunities for them?
There are different models of financing.
Okay.
We have the input financing. That comes with the technical financing. That comes along the technical financing. We also have the equipment financing.
Okay.
And we also have direct financing, as in the physical, the cash itself, the credit itself. Now, what is more prevalent within the smallholder farmers or the farmer-based organizations, the FBOs that we have in the country? Now we are moving towards having cooperatives, which the minister wants to establish or re-establish to strengthen our various value chains. The key issue here is that we have groups called the FBOs. Okay. Now, these FBOs have been put together by a company. And the company, what it does is that they register them, they build their biodata, they build their location where they are operating from, they build some other data on age, they build data on areas of how many people they have working for them, what crop, how much they make a year. And based on that, they put them into a credit system.
Okay.
Now, the credit system is that they provide them with, so for instance, you are doing 5 acres of maize. So they know that you need this quantity of seeds. They know that you will need 1 bag of urea, 4 bags of NPK per acre.
Okay.
So they will provide you that and also provide you mechanization service. And on top of that, they provide you climate information service and provide you also with market guarantee. So all these are credits. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, this forms the financing regime in our production sector. So what they do that, they cost all this and tell you that, okay, at the end of your production season, which is normally 120, 130 days, you are going to take this amount of money. But instead of you paying us cash, you pay by your produce. So maybe you are getting about 120 bags per acre, per hectare. They'll say, okay, we'll take 60 of every hectare or every acre, depending on the agreement, a difference. So every crop and every FBO have their own contract, different contracting system with these farmers. And if you look at it, it's also driving some financial inclusion. We need to look at the financial inclusion. We also have a digital financial inclusion for the farmers to be able to access their data, credit, and everything on their phone. We also have quite a number of others. But on the large scale, you have to look at some form of structured financing. It could be financing for greenfield. It could be financing for debt or otherwise. So it's quite open. Currently, we have the Ghana Agriculture Insurance risk sharing for agriculture lending, GESL, providing some de-risking mechanism. We're looking at the Exim Bank and all the other banks, okay, the bigger banks providing one form of financing on the other. But all this comes with a lot of bottlenecks over bureaucracy. We're looking at issues with regards to over documentation and guarantee system. You need to also provide some form of several other things, that landed properties and all that. So it's not easy to access financing. Sometimes it can take between 6 months to a year or even more to access financing for the agriculture sector. So it is the reason why some of us strongly believe, and that of the Chamber of Agribusiness, that we need to look at how we can develop an agro industry, in that we are developing the commercial production wing to support industry processing to export, which is value addition, which the president's vision has set on, which is the accelerated export development strategy within the 24-hour economy. We also need to look at an extended vision of where we want to create for ourselves in terms of food sovereignty. And when it comes to food sovereignty, we can't continue to burden smallholder farmers to produce for us and to push us out of our food security situation. If you look at the data, we have more overage population in the agriculture sector, which is in itself a risk. We have the larger share of the production sector, which are illiterate and unable to use new technologies. So all these things are risk in itself. And you are counting of these people who otherwise do not have any competitive edge to continue to drive a nation's food security strategy, which is a risk in itself. And we need to be more pragmatic. We need to be intentional and deliberate in how we can galvanize a system that is driven by the private sector. In areas where agriculture has done well, it has been driven by the private sector. Government creates the enabling environment. Government creates the infrastructure network. And what are these infrastructure network? road accessibility. A lot of people discount the role of road, but road play a key role in agriculture development. You need to look at access to energy, access to other key areas like data. For instance, in the agriculture areas in Ghana, what is the data penetration rate?
Even irrigation system, right?
I'm even yet to come to water management, because if you talk to people of your age and my year group, how many people will be able to stay in the villages? Well, some of us are doing it, but how many people below the ages of 35 to 20, how many of them are willing to stay in the villages where they do not have access to social media a day? Okay, I've interviewed in the past about 500 people, youth, and not even one is ready to stay a day, 1 hour.
It will be a struggle.
1 hour without access to social media. So that tells you our current situation we face. How many of our youth are involved in direct production is less than 20%. And we have over 60% people above the age of 60% who are involved in production. That tells you in the next 10 years, we will have acute challenges with production.
Yeah.
Now, when you even come to what you have alluded to, which is climate, weather, water management, and irrigation. Now, Galamsey, so we have a new baby, destruction of the water bodies. European Union is on our head. How do we develop a water system that is conducive and suitable for food production? That is the thing. Are we going to have our food laced with heavy metallic objects because we are using those contaminated and toxified water bodies to produce food? Are we going to have our food laced with cyanide and mercury and other chemicals? So those are challenges. And when you're talking about infrastructure, you talk about the challenges that the current infrastructure poses to food production. And I think that to a large extent, there are ways government can work on those things. For instance, the Chamber in the coming days will issue a statement that the government should declare each district in every region organic free state. That is one of the key areas we can begin to look competitive and develop some very healthy, traceable, and quality food safe production system for our country. There are a lot of people looking for organic food. Okay, a lot of people are just looking to feed the tummy. Those who have the financial powers to be able to feed the tummy and decide what they eat and how they eat and where their food should come from are ready to pay. So create the enabling environment and make it easy that they can decide if they want to pay 3 times above the market odds for a safer quality traceable food in terms of where it is produced. They should be able to do so.
I mean, I'm happy to know. I'm happy about the farmers-based organization that supports financing smallholder farmers. Now, you also mentioned some challenges. You talked about the bureaucracy, over documenting, where there's a delay in supporting these farmers. So, in your opinion, what strategy do you think will be the best? Because it's also important that they get all these documents and all that. What in your opinion will be the best strategy in order to speed up financial support for these farmers?
The truth is we need a more robust data of farmers in the country. Who are farmers? How do you identify a farmer? When a farmer comes to you, how do you know that the farmer, the individual and the farm have some connection?
Right.
We need a farmer database, a national farmer database, which must be accessible by the financial institutions. You need a system in place that requires that before you can be a farmer, you need to be licensed. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the license here applies not to smallholder farmers, but to commercial farmers, so that they are taken through the proper way of doing things. over the years, you've heard people saying, oh, I don't take vegetables, I don't take salad because I have stomach ulcer, or I have challenges when I take vegetables. Why? Because our post-harvest systems has not been the best. We applied a lot of chemicals on our food, and in areas where, or times where we need to reduce it, we are over applying. So there is quite a number of things that have to be done. We also need, as a country, to establish a fund purposely for agriculture development. The current system of dissipating financing, the small financing we have, over 10 or 15 agencies of government, everybody doing agriculture, where we do not have enough funds to invest directly into production and post-harvest activities, should be stopped. We required at least $1.5 billion annually for the next 10 years if we have to halve our current challenges in the agriculture sector.
Wow.
And that must be deliberate, it must be intentional. Because if you look at the food we import, the food import bill is so heavy, over $5 billion annually. Okay? And we cannot continue the way we are going. Sugar, maize, rice, oil, edible oil, fat and oil, fruit juice. We import chicken, frozen meat. We import majority of our seeds. Okay? Wow. We import all the fertilizers. We import all the agrochemicals, 90%. Several things that we import. All the equipment, 99% are all imported. For the food, I can go on and on and on. The wheat, all that. How do we diversify?
Local. So the level of import is higher than the level of exports.
The level of import is higher than the level of import.
Yeah, which is a challenge.
Yes. Yes, of course, there is no nation in the world that is food secured. But there are some that are almost on the verge of being food secured. Like, for instance, Brazil. Yes, Brazil. Really? Yes. Brazil exports about agriculture, contributes around $168 to $170 billion annually to the GDP of Brazil. And their agriculture sector over the past 30 years have contributed consistently 24 to 28%.
Wow.
Yes. So that is a performing industry. That is an agro industry. You see, before a sector can do well, you need to institutionalize that sector.
Okay.
When it comes to agriculture sector, mention one company that over the past 20 years have existed. You can't find one. Okay? It's either it's been changed from one company, it's been idle for 5 years, another company has taken it for 2 years, it's gone off, it's been idle for another 3 years. No, you need an institution and companies and other auxiliary agencies that have been consistently performing for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. And one thing we need to also be looking at is our land management system. Okay. I love Brazil because 30 years ago, they decided that they want to triple their agriculture production. So they invested in research. They invested in infrastructure and logistics. They invested in markets. And they also invested in technology. Now, we need to be careful how we are increasing the land usability just for agriculture purposes. We need to stop and take account of the existing land that are meant for agriculture and see how we can triple our current production stock, just like Brazil did. Okay?
Right. Right.
Because the population is growing,
Right.
it doesn't mean that we should keep increasing the agricultural land. We need
Identify.
some land to actually provide the greenery we need
Yeah.
to first breathe the fresh air,
Yeah.
okay? Provide the oxygen and take out the carbon dioxide in the system. If you go to Denmark actually 5 or 10 years ago made a new law and said, okay, all farmers, because of greenhouse emissions, we need you to offset 30% of your land to forest. And they have to do that. Yes. Here is a country, we are not looking at zero net strategy for emissions, zero net strategy for all the, and we are just today, I heard on CTFM, your sister station, saying that almost 280,000 people die annually out of polluted air, okay? Developing bronchitis issues of the heart and all that. If your air is polluted, you have health issues. And that doesn't imply that you have a very good human force to develop your country. So agriculture is key towards the survival and continuity and growth of every economy and the country. And if you do not pay critical attention to what you do as a result of putting in strategy, long-term strategies, not stopgap, we will not live to achieve what we want to.
I mean, hopefully we're able to, achieve what we want to. So you talked about consistency, which is key in terms of growth and, looking at our maturity rates. It's also important that we also look at marking the various areas that we want to farm on. So the marking here, we're looking at which land do you want to farm on, which land would you want to keep for, fresh air purposes. And these are very key. But there was one thing you said, which is very alarming, if not checked, that the farmers currently are persons, most of them are persons who are 60 years and above. And if we do not look at that or check it, in a few years, let's say 5 to 10 years, there'll be a problem. So is there anything that the chamber or even the ministry is looking at to employ more young people within the farming system?
This must be a national strategy. The youth requires incentives to go into production. Of course, let me caveat here. Not everyone or every youth can be a farmer.
Right.
Okay?
Definitely.
But we need to provide the youth of today some incentives, financing, market guarantee system for off-taking of their produce and payback. I mean, youth want to see quick results. So how do you strategize in a way that you provide that quick result? It is the responsibility of government. Because if there is no food in the country, it is not the father or the mother who is going to get the blame. It is the government. You understand? If the cost of food is so high in a country, it is not about the headmaster, your father or your mother. Everybody will talk about government. And so it's the responsibility of government to provide the mechanisms that to strengthen, that to incentivize, that to encourage the youth to go into production. And also, let me add that in this country, we produce quite a lot, but there is a heavy amount of post-harvest losses. The food that goes bad from the transportation, the food handling, the perishable foods across board, from the yam to the grains and cereals, to the vegetables, to the fruits, they are quite heavy.
Wow.
We need to also invest in value addition. Look, if you go to other countries, they are almost working on net zero because on their farm, there are no waste. Everything that is in their farm supports the another. So it's a cycle.
Okay.
So we need to develop that and make sure that we are actually working towards a net zero post-harvest losses, because that is very important. Food loss is different from post-harvest loss. Food loss happens on our table, in the restaurant, at the chobbers, and other places. Buy what you can consume. Do not let your stomach deceive you, because when the food is actually left unconsumed, it can be used for something else. But if it's served on your plate and you've not consumed it and the rest have to be thrown away, yes, people will argue that it goes to the piggery and all that. The truth be told, those are not the food meant for the livestock. Livestock are fed consistently in a manner that reduces their fattening. Okay, they are fed in a way that provide the antibiotic system and other things that support their growth and health. So it's garbage in, garbage out. If you feed them with waste that is not part of their feed regime, they'll also give you the garbage out. So we need to be clear. And you see, the manner in which we go about things is not the best. It has to be strategic. It has to be informed by research. It has to be informed by data. And when you put in garbage, you get garbage. So when you put in the right data, you get the right result. And when we are achieving that, we need to look at the impact. We look at how the impact is supporting our sustainability strategy. And let me say this. Over the years, and I've heard the current president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, talk about, we need to reduce the cost of food on the market. Now, cost of food inflation keeps going up. How do we do that? Let me give an instance, and I think somebody out there is hearing. The only way, last year we did the cost of food price build-up in Ghana. Now, 32 to 37% of the cost of food price build-up in Ghana is on logistics. Warehousing, the retail, the transport, the labor. I'll give you an example. When you have to produce maize, you import the maize seed. You warehouse it first. It comes at a cost. There are people who actually take it from the ship to the warehouse. In fact, you need the trucks to move it from the harbor to the warehouse. Depending on the distance, the cheapest you can get will be 6,000 from Tema Harbor to the next warehouse. Okay? People who are offloading are not offloading for free. Each of them is paid maybe 1 cedi 50 pesos per bag that they offload. Okay? Now, when I am coming to buy, I'm not buying directly to my farm. I'm buying directly to go and retail. So that somebody is offloading, somebody is loading. Okay? Then there is a truck also that is also loading it to the next destination. Now, then it comes to the retail. The retail person have a store, have workers, have paying bills, paying rent. They put it on the cost of the final input, the fertilizer, the seeds, the agrochemical. We need to develop a mechanism where we take out all this. Yes, somebody will argue that it is providing jobs, but to tell you the truth, jobs at whose expense? When the cost of food is so high, inflation on food is high, we can't have a food secure country. Okay? Right. Now, the same way when the food is produced, we aggregate food from town to town and bring it to Accra, where we redistribute. We need a straight channel that takes out all this cost build-up on the food price, so that by the time it lands on the market, at least, even if it's not cheaper, 10 to 15%, it should be cheaper.
I mean, not to cut you, but we had a conversation about this last week where we were talking about the inflation being a single digit and its impact also on agriculture. And one of the measures, we had a statistician and we had an economic analyst also. And they also talked about having a policy that tightens or controls pricing, which is one of the things, because it looks like there is no control when it comes to pricing of products in the market. I don't know what you think about that.
I don't believe in price control.
Okay.
Okay, what I believe in strategic intervention
Okay.
to mitigate the food prices on the market. For instance, the role of buffer stock, the role of national security, human security decks at the national security. All these people must work and be finding out from major market, are prices going up above certain peg. Okay, if they are going up, what do? We introduce food into the market and give it to strategic people to reduce the price.
So now to increase the supply,
So it's the less the demand,
regardless of the demand.
it's about the less the demand.
Okay.
What drives food price?
When
the less
when there's high demand,
yes, where there is high demand,
and there's
low supply,
then prices shoots up.
certainly. Now, prices can also shoot up as a result of forex issues,
Yes.
as a result of global issues, and also it can go up as a result of policy, regulatory activities. Okay, and of course, fuel and other things. So we need to look at it in that enclave. The buffer stock have a strategic priority in making sure that they de-risk the cost involved in food pricing. And that is why recently I think they came up with a certain peg as a result of the glut to peg maize price at I think 480 or so. But a lot is required, not only about the pricing. We also have the commodity exchange. We have all those other government agencies. The private sector have an enormous tax to be able to drive food pricing in a manner that also make their venture business sustainable. So a lot is supposed to be done, not only at the government side of policy, regulatory. We also need to look at the private sector and all the other quangos of government, the other institutions, development partners. We need to do, but overridingly, the onus lies on government.
So there's more to it than just putting up a policy to control price. Now, this is very interesting. Looking at post-harvest laws and how we can control it, because from what I see in the market, I've seen that, for example, if there's produce for mango, apart from getting the juice or extracting the juice, mango can also be dried. It becomes a snack. I'm sure if they look at it, there may be other uses for a particular fruit or product. Now, is there any government intervention to help farmers identify the other ways of preserving the food so that the loss will be reduced drastically, and then there'll be some other ways of managing the produce so that there's the because we don't post harvest loss is huge.
We have the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research.
Okay.
They have a wing called the Food Research Institute, which is of government. Okay. One of their mandates is to research into food preservation, value addition, food processing, the technologies of food and all that. But primarily, the area of value addition is an enterprise activity. It's a private sector activity. However, government can also step in to say, look, in terms of this area, we think that we want to preserve the losses. We want to reduce the continuous importation. For instance, Ghana imports over $600 million worth of tomatoes annually from areas of Burkina Faso, Morocco, and other places. Meanwhile, we have glut currently in tomatoes, in onion. Onion, we are doing almost $800 million plus of onion importation. So what do we seek to achieve here? We as government have that overriding responsibility to say, look, we want to safeguard the tomato sector. When it's glut, we are going to buy all, preserve it, process it, and when we do not have much in the system, we release it. And this can come in terms of plum tomatoes, in terms of box tomatoes, in any way we want it. Government have to do the market research. How do Ghanaians want their tomatoes? Right. And those are the key interventions. And what it does is that we are not being too overriding wasteful. We are importing the fertilizer with seeds, with Ghana seeds, Ghana cedis, okay? But we are converting the cedis into dollars to import. So if we can reduce the amount of cedis that purchase foreign currency, then that means that we are holding on to our currency, we are adding value, and we can use those value when we need it. Okay?
Okay. So now we've moved into the depreciation, appreciation of the Ghana cedis against the dollar and all that. And so now let's look at climate change. But before we continue, if you just tuned in, this is Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio. If you have comments, do share with us on 0544321019. 0544321019. What's the take on our conversation this morning? The challenges and opportunities in agribusiness in Ghana. We have here the CEO of Chamber of Agribusiness, Mr. Morrison. So, Mr. Morrison, how is climate change impacting agribusiness operations and planning?
Well, climate change has been with us for years. In Ghana, we have two systems of farming. The bimodal and the unimodal. We have two climates. There's the savanna and the forest, the middle belt strains in a way.
Okay.
Both are affected by climate change. Climate change comes in area of weather vulnerability. It comes in a way of inconsistency in terms of our rainfall patterns. It also comes in form of high temperature that is absorbing or evaporating the little liquidity or moist on the atmosphere, which will in fact support production. But because the temperature is high, there is the evaporation, the volatility is higher.
Okay.
Now, if the rainfall is good, you have what? Good harvest. But the rainfall must be timely and consistent. You have a lot of inconsistency in the rainfall, and it's not timely. The time you need the rain, for instance, you know that in your area, when you plant maize, within 20 days or 30 days, it must rain. Then you apply fertilizer, and the rain doesn't come. The fertilizer goes to burn.
What about irrigation support?
I'll come there. We're talking about climate change.
Right.
Now, when these things are failing, then you begin to look at what are the mitigating facilities or interventions. Then you begin to look at, irrigation. As it stands, the irrigable land in the system is not more than 200,000. Okay? But we have over 1.something million land that we should be able to irrigate. Irrigation comes at a cost. It's not like you put tomatoes in your sack in the garden and you wake up with one bottle of water. No. It comes with pragmatism. It comes with wall engineering system. And in fact, it's not every water that you can use to irrigate. In some water sources or water bodies, you even need to do further work on the water before you can use it to do irrigation. You need to train the right people who understand. System, is it you are going to use drones? Are you going to use even irrigation by pressure or by force or by the flow? So a lot of things comes in place. Okay, the drip, you need to look at, are you going to use drip? What kind of online drippers? How do you intend to use? Not every crop requires the same quantity of water. So what some crops, like for instance soya, requires little water to produce. Maize requires a lot of water. Vegetables requires a lot of water. So you need to know. Rice, of course, is a water base. So you need to know and understand But certainly irrigation comes at a cost.
Okay, so what trends are shaping the consumer demand for agricultural products locally and internationally?
Well, for export, a lot of things comes in place. Globally, the demand for exports is changing. We are having a lot of competition as well as a country. If you realize, the whole of South America produces exactly what we produce here in Ghana. If you go to Costa Rica, you go to Brazil, you go to Argentina, Mexico. In fact, do you know that maize came from Mexico? Do you know that tomatoes originated from the Mexican areas? Okay, Peru, Mexico, Colombia. All these areas, they produce cassava, they produce yam, they produce palm oil, they produce cocoa, they produce everything we produce here, plantain, banana. So there is competition.
Yeah.
We need to look at where are our competitive, we need to build an agro-industry export competitive intelligence system where we need to compare where are our products doing favorably, which countries are competing with us, and why are they competing. In the next 5 years, what are their strategies? Then what are our strategies to remain on top or to remain competitive? There are a lot of drivers. A lot is changing. For instance, in Brazil, maize, there is no waste in the maize. They even use maize to do jeans, okay? The corn covers, they used to do jeans, to do materials. They used to do a lot of things. They use it to do, how do you call it, carpet and several things. So there is competition, there is demand. Now, when it comes to the stock of a lot of things, they are used for a lot of things. But what are we using ours for? Are we burning them away? Okay, and when we burn them, what do we use the ash, the potash for? So there is use for everything under the sun. And this is where I as a Christian, I believe strongly that there is a reason why God put some intellect or intelligence in our mind to be able to do certain things and apply them. When you apply it rightly, yes, under the blessings of God, you will get it. But you need to apply it backed by the same intelligence God has given you to do research and back it with data and do it rightly. So are we doing it rightly? Now, on the national level, what is influencing the kind of food we eat? We are watching a lot of movies these days. We have become more globalized. We are in the globalized community. 20, 30 years ago, how many homes were having TVs? And they were watching pizza, or they were watching... Look, pizza, for instance, was a traditional food in a small town in Italy. Now it has become a globalized food. How many of our food, even the most talk about jollof, how have we packaged jollof that it is eaten in all global restaurants?
Jollof is now a competition.
It's a competition only among ourselves.
Yeah.
How many, mention even top 50 restaurants in the world, can we see jollof on their table or on their menu?
I think gradually it's going to
No, it's not about gradually. How long did it take pizza to get to Africa, to get to Ghana, to become a household name? That even now, dinner, there is pizza being served. Okay? So we need to develop our competitive edge for our product. For instance, I was telling one of my friends, I went to a village some 7 years back in the Volta region, and they use beans, okay? Beans flour, mix it with other nice stuff, and they put palm oil on the frying pan, and they put the beans mixed with water and other things in. And when you turn it and you are eating, you think it's pizza. So we also have some form of those sort of system in place previously. How did we sell such products? Okay?
Yeah.
Even I'm told that when you can take the palm oil out and use other oil to do it. And the taste, the spice was solid. You spread it with pepper, they add the pepper to it, you roll it, and you enjoyed good food. More
So Morris,
nutritious.
you have to introduce us to this food. So we are very much interested. I mean, it's so amazing that there's a lot, and I feel like we just touched the tip of the iceberg when it comes to agribusiness, because there's a lot when it comes to tech alone. There's a lot when it comes to financing. Same with climate change and other areas as well. And I'm looking forward to our next conversation where we can pick it one area another and just dissect it to the deepest level possible, because I feel like there's a lot of questioning, and I also have a lot that if I had enough time I would ask. But finally, your last words. So your last words for anyone looking at embarking on agribusiness, and advice for anyone with the potential who may not be thinking about agribusiness now. So someone who's already in, or someone who's already interested, and also a potential. What would your advice to them be?
I'll start this way.
Okay.
Government should find it necessary to come up with some policy. All corporations, all big companies who owns agriculture entity should be given some tax exemption. At least 500 to 1,000 acres. They should be given some tax exemption. Because that is what Brazil has done to change the narrative. You have big corporations owning large-scale agriculture lands.
Yeah.
And they are farming heavily. Some even depend on the agriculture entity to support the major business. And that is what we need in Ghana. Now, if you want to go into agriculture, don't be afraid. Don't feel shy. If you have somebody who has been doing agriculture for 10, 15, 20 years, you are a professor, you are a medical doctor, you are a lawyer, you are an engineer, go and be mentored. Because agric is such that if you go to acquire the land, you plow, you plant, and you don't harvest, it's a loss. In fact, it's even embarrassing as a professor or a medical doctor, engineer, a lawyer, or whatsoever to say that you go and sit on radio, or you are talking to your friends at the drinking spots. Oh, agriculture is risky, because you fail to do the right things that it requires of you to do. You need, it doesn't matter. You see, I always tell a lot of people, agriculture is an area where the farmer, whether educated or uneducated, is a pilot of what he does. In selecting the right land, he does the activity of a surveyor, he does the activity of a soil scientist to determine if the land is suitable for his product. In doing planting and in doing other activities, he interfaces other skills. In harvesting, he interfaces other skills. So over time, the farmer has acquired the skills that are not taught in primary areas. But these are practical experience. And this is why we call it recognition of prior learning. The farmer sits in comfortably in this place and can tell you that today it will rain. In the next 3 days, he will plant. And when he plants, looking at the weather system, the next 3 days or 4 days when he plants, this is what will happen. Farmer has acquired all this data in his system. So the farmer appreciates. He sees the leaves and knows that he should apply a herbicide or a weedicide. You can't learn it just because, unless you go to agriculture school, then you'll be able to learn that, okay? But if whatever profession, just go for mentorship, go for some coaching, get to the farm, dirty yourself. But with time, you get to appreciate the nuances of doing so. But when you bend your fingers and you say, oh, I've invested 100,000, I didn't get anything. Yes, you invested 100,000, but you did not invest in the skill of making sure that the 100,000 is able to return profits on your investment.
Amazing. Mr. Morrison is calling for tax exemptions for agri organizations or corporations. And also, according to him, if you are looking forward to starting an agribusiness, he's saying that don't be afraid, but go and be mentored by one who is already in the business. Thank
But
you.
let me add that the
Okay.
Chamber of Agribusiness have a training facility. We train people
Oh, that's nice.
across board, from archaeology to zoology within the agriculture frame. So
Okay.
if anyone interested, they can always reach out to us. The
Is
Chamber
there a
of
short training course or
yes,
long?
short training course.
Okay. All right. So if they want to get in touch, how do they get in touch?
They can get to the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana website, or we are also on social media, or they can reach out to our number 0500 600 722, or info@agribusinesschamber@gmail.org.
Okay. So if you are interested in the short training or short course, please visit their website. Say the website is Ghana
Chamber of Agribusiness.
Ghana Chamber of Agribusiness.com, and you can also call them on 0500 600 722 0500 600 722. And you can also email them info@chamberofagribusiness.org.
Yeah.
info@agribusiness.org. Thank you so much, Mr. Morrison, for spending your morning with us right here on Business Breakfast on Z.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. And that's it for today. Okay. All right. So thank you so much again, our cherished listeners, for joining us today. It's all about the challenges and opportunities that the agribusiness is facing. And I think that it's been an insightful conversation right here on Business Breakfast on Z 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio. And as always, whatever you find your hands doing, may be blessed. And see you again next time. Have a good